Well, before I go into anything else, I want to introduce our last panelist, Miss. Let me make sure I'm pronouncing your name right. Marjorianna Willman.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. I'm learning a whole lot just listening to all this. Um, yeah, so I'm the director for the office, the mayor's Office of Community Development. It's actually called Housing Policy and Community Development. And we
Yes.
provide a host of services and mostly funding for services and for the development of affordable housing and housing stability type services. So right now, which Hannah alluded to and you did as well, that the city just recently received $11.6 million from the United States Treasury for rental assistance. We're expecting to get $14 million from the state, from the same pot of funds that came from Treasury, but these are just came from the state as opposed to the first pot that came directly from Treasury. And we've already started our program. So we designed it based on the information that was made available. And the wonderful thing about this program is it was developed very broadly so that people could apply, so that barriers would be reduced and the funding would be available and very quickly. So what we did was we went ahead and we started our program. We're the first in the state. We started taking applications on the 15th, and we received about 5,000 applications so far. And I've taken a look at quite a few of them, and I would echo the same thing that some of the other panelists said, is that people really are trying really hard to just get by. There was a portion of the application that we included where folks could just kind of give a description of what their situation is and what their need is. And it's so unfortunate because there are many people who were laid off or lost their jobs, went back to work,
Right.
then got furloughed and laid off again. And then we're also seeing where people really have tried to pay some portion of their rent. So the program allows the city to pay up to 12 months of back due rent. And in addition to that, we're paying 1 month of rent forward. The Treasury's program actually allowed 3 months forward, but we decided that it was in the best interest of the city to try to help as many people as possible and to do that 1 month forward and then reassess those individuals, come back and reassess them 60 days after that. We know they'll still be housed because we've also embedded in our agreements, thanks to Ms. Hannah, who helped us very much on our landlord agreements, which stated that a landlord could not evict a tenant in the first 90 days for lack of payment, and then 91 days to 180 days unless they had good cause. So that would be something that tenant did to violate the lease or something illegal or wrong or was just cause for eviction. So the whole point is not perfect, but it's the best that we could do. So we're helping the tenant and we're helping the landlord at the same time. We've gotten really good reception on the program from both. We have both tenants and landlords can apply. However, that landlord has to give the tenant the application to complete. So either way, whoever applies initially, we have to communicate with both the landlord and the tenant before a payment is actually issued. And payment is generally issued to the landlord, but there will be some circumstances where payment may go directly to the tenant. And that might be, like we talked about earlier, we're finding tenants who are in places that just really aren't habitable.
Correct.
So landlords are playing all kind of tricks out there. And so we don't want to put them back in that situation. If we're able to put resources together in a package where they can move to another unit and be successful in another unit, that's what we're doing.
Okay. Let me ask you, what's the name of the program?
It's called the ERAP program. It's a New Orleans Emergency Rental Assistance Program.
ERAP?
ERAP, yes. Emergency Rental Assistance Program is just ERAP.
Correct. Now, who's entitled to the program?
Okay, so anyone who's been affected by COVID, meaning that they've had some type of reduction in their income, and it doesn't have to necessarily be just that you lost your job or you got furloughed or your income has decreased, but it could also be that you didn't say you have a steady income, you're on a fixed income, like say Social Security, but you got COVID and you got all kind of medical bills, all kind of medication that you have to spend money on. So your overall amount of funds and resources available for rent has been decreased. So you have to have been impacted by COVID. If you're at risk for homelessness, that's another priority group. And then thirdly, you have to be 80% of the area median income or below. And that's about 42,000 for a family of four. So if you've been laid off, I mean, we have folks that are mostly, that's not an issue. The 80% and below is not an issue based on the applications that I've been looking at.
Okay. Where would the viewers go to apply for this?
Okay, and the program that I'm talking about is just for Orleans Parish. So there are other parishes that have received funds as well as the state. Those programs haven't started yet, but I just want to make sure I put that out there because we are getting a lot of applications from Jefferson Parish and other parishes, just people desperate and in hopes of getting some sort of assistance, but you do have to be in Orleans Parish. So you can go to the Ready NOLA website. There's an electronic application on that site. You can call the Office of Community Development. There's two numbers, 658-4200. That's the main line. And we also have a separate line just for rental assistance questions, and that's 504-658-4240. We have increased our staffing to help us process applications. They have folks that have came in. We have copies there. We're at 1340 Poydras on the 10th floor. We've had people who have come there and pick them up. They can fill them out there as well. We'll even take call-in applications. And one other thing I'd like to mention, when there was a good question about disparity and that sort of thing. So what we are also doing is we're partnering with the mayor's neighborhood engagement office. Professor Finger with Loyola University has identified areas where we know that there are very high risk for eviction, or a lot of evictions come from these areas. So we're going out to some of the stores and different places, even putting flyers on doors to make sure they're aware of the program. So we know it's not always the ones that are first come, first serve. It's not necessarily always the best approach because there are some people who just may not have that information, may not have access to the internet, and just may not be able to come in like that. So we're going out into the community as well.
Okay, good. Now, just to clarify for our viewers, can this program be used in conjunction or added to Section 8 from Handle, or is it a program that has to be separate and apart?
Oh, it can be used in conjunction with any subsidized housing. The only thing is we have to make sure that we don't over subsidize or there's not a duplication of benefits. We have to check and make sure that if you're requesting for rent for just say the month of December, you didn't also receive funding from some other agency for the same month that covered that balance. So we're working with nonprofit partners and others to be able to verify income as well as to verify whether they've received funding, federal funding from other organizations. But yes, you can. Now, we will encourage a tenant to have their case recertified. So if your income is reduced, you should go to Hano or whatever and have your rent portion be recertified because it should be reduced if your income has been reduced.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, are there any other outreach services to the community that you all offer right now?
Yeah, so if it's anything housing related, because we do a lot with the homeless population as well, just stabilizing housing. I don't know, some folks may have heard about last year as a result of COVID, the city in conjunction with the state picked up and placed about 500 unsheltered homeless individuals into hotels, and many of them were put into permanent housing. So we did a lot of good work with that. But we offer homelessness services, lots of different services. So if there's anything housing related and there's an issue, I would suggest that you call the Office of Community Development. If we can't help you, we'll direct you to our partners who may be able to. So we work very close with Unity, the Continuum of Care. We work with Southeast Louisiana Legal for illegal evictions, just about anything. Even we work across offices with code violations and any other issues that may be problematic.
Okay. And just as I'm looking, I want to make sure we're getting into the last 15 minutes, so I don't want to cut our listeners off. Shawan, I saw we had some questions came through. Want to open this up to I had some more questions for Mr. Badon, but I'm going to reserve that and let the listeners ask the questions that they may have that posed for the last few minutes.
All right, so we have a question that says, Ms. Willman, has there been any opportunities for poor homeowners to participate? So I'm assuming like the tenants can qualify. Is there an avenue for homeowners to qualify? And can you expect?
Yes, ma'am, and I'm happy to do that. So right now, this particular program was designed only for rental assistance. However, the city is working on right now a rental program, not a rental, I'm sorry, a foreclosure mitigation program for homeowners. So there'll be more about that in the next couple of weeks. We wanted to, it's not just good enough to announce a program. We got to make sure it goes correctly. So we wanted to go ahead and spend a little time with the rental assistance program, make sure those funds are getting out of the door the way they're supposed to. And then we'll be launching another program, which is going to be foreclosure assistance for those who are homeowners who are falling behind on their mortgages.
And has that funding been approved and sent to the local municipalities already? You'll have it ready, just waiting to announce?
So we do have funds that we had planned to put in place for rental assistance that we're redirecting to foreclosure mitigation now that we've received the Treasury funds.
Okay. And you said something earlier about paying 12 months of back rent.
Mm-hmm.
And so whatever the contract was, and once you all approve it, the landlords would get whatever the 12 months due, he or she, in addition to a 1 month forward?
Yes.
Awesome.
And this program will exist as long as funds are available, and maybe a closeout date?
Yeah, so the closeout date, boy, you have some very good questions. So the closeout date is the program will run through the end of the year. There is an opportunity to request an extension of 3 months, but from Treasury, but that's not the approach we wanted to take. So our approach has been to get the money out as soon as possible and to expend the funds. And if there are funds that's still lying around within the state, we want to be able to get those. So if there are jurisdictions that either maybe not have that higher population of our renters or just can't put it to use, or for whatever reason, we want to make sure the city is positioned well to be able to receive any balance of funds.
All right. Well, thank you. I mean, it's a great program and it's well needed.
Right.
So as much information as we can share and get the message out there so you can get more applications and to help more people is what we're trying to do here. So I'm just trying to think of anything that I think may be helpful in terms of
There are no questions from the viewers?
That was one question. So I presented that question. And the other question, I guess, would be, I know you said $4,200. What information would a renter or a tenant need to present to you? as they prepare to organize and complete the application?
So that's a very good question too. And again, there's a lot of leeway there. It even can come down to a point where we can do a self-certification if there's a portion of information that just cannot be supported. But identity, so we need some type of identification. A driver's license, work identification, at a school, just some sort of identification, maybe even a utility bill that went to that unit, something like that. We're going to need something. If they are not working, we would need, they can go to the unemployment website and print out their account to show that they applied, how much they're getting, or if they're not getting anything, if it's all been expended, you know, just that sort of information. We're really allowed to kind of piece stuff together, but the main thing is going to be that they're actually in that unit, which we know that the landlord will be able to, you know, prove that. They do not have to have an active lease. We know that most folks do not even have active leases right now. They are month to month. Because a lot of landlords do not want to go into lease negotiations when the rent is back due. But definitely the main things will be that you've been affected by COVID. It could be, you know, your termination letter, your furlough letter, you know, any of that kind of stuff, what you got for unemployment, if you were denied unemployment, and then your identity. So that's the main thing. I would like to add also is we have the applications as well in Spanish and Vietnamese, and we have access to interpreters through the Homeland Security Office. So we really try really hard. We work with Hannah's office. We work with Fair Housing Office to really eliminate any barriers that would keep an individual from applying for these funds. We did not do this in a silo. Every that we thought could be that could provide good input. We sought their comments to put together a good program that would be successful and serve a lot of people.
All right, and we have one additional question, Mr. Dooley.
Before she moved past it, so there's not a proof of financial status requirement, like to when they apply, or is that something that you all check yourself?
So it's a combination. So if they can bring that and they show it to us, that's wonderful. But we know that we're serving some of the people just do not have access to all the information, everything. It's just, you know, we're really having to kind of piece it together. They're culture bearers and musicians. They're folks who made cash, you know, so we're just working together to figure out what they can do to show that their income. And I know it sounds kind of strange because most programs have very straightforward guidelines, but this program was designed not to be that way so it could help the most people.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And this question is related to the economic office. The question is whether or not you all assist with utility bills.
Currently, we're not. That was one of the eligible expenses that could have been included in this program, and it was decided to help as many people with shelter. First, of course, we know everyone wants to have utilities, but that is another area we're working on in a different way, and we're hopeful that there'll be some sort of assistance with utilities coming soon.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome.
And those are all of the questions, Mr. Dooley.
That's pretty much it for me then.
So, as such, you all, the information you all shared tonight was really, really informative. And this series was recorded. So I can't wait to share it with the public and hopefully to get the message out there about housing and evictions and the program that the city has, the ERAP, and again, just to be a service to the community. And we thank you for participating tonight. We hope to make this an annual event. So, you know, next year we'll come back and we'll see what progress we've made and how the programs help to implement and what issues we may still or may not have with, you know, evictions and all of those things that our community is dealing with. So thank you for participating, and for those attendees and for the guests also. We have a series scheduled for tomorrow, which will be, I call it Big Court. You know, we're going to do the CDC upstairs with the judges, and we're going to focus on domestic violence and what's happening and what services SLLS is providing with those and the Family Justice Center. So we welcome and invite you all to come back. And if any of you all would like to be and join the membership, if you have not done so, you can visit our website, the NAACP-NOLA.org, and familiarize yourself with what community services we do. This is a volunteer organization. No one is paid, so we need as many members as we can get to come and help do some of the work that's necessary within the city for the New Orleans branch.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Enjoyed it. Call me anytime.
Yes, sir. I got everybody's number. We're good. I will be doing this again.
Okay. Call me anytime. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, guys. And thank you, panelists, and thank you, attendees, for watching. And again, we'll show this on our website, which is NAACP-NOLA.org. Have a good night.